Hey there, internet chat forum. Due to my health problems, I probably won't be able to respond after posting this, but I'll try my best to read whatever responses you guys post. Appreciate it. This all started in July of 2023. I was looking for video effects to add to a project I was working on for school. It was around noon when I started hearing this weird, constant sound. At first, it sounded distant, about as distant as the neighbor's dogs a couple houses down that bark at every oxygen atom that hits them. It was very subtle though, and I could change the volume and pitch of the sound by tilting my head from side to side, though the sound would eventually stabilize and start sounding the same after some time. If you use an online tone generator, I was hearing a 529 Hz frequency. The sound went away after a few minutes of me shaking my head and opening my Eustachian tubes. I figured it was some sort of odd tinnitus fit since I do have bouts of tinnitus at random. The tinnitus episodes, however, only happen once every few weeks or few months, and the noise I perceive is much higher pitched, in the kilohertz range. 6 days pass and I was in class. At noon, I start hearing that exact same new annoying sound. I start trying to use my pinky fingers to get into the inside of my ears to pressurize and depressurize them, but this didn't affect the noise at all. Again, about 3 minutes pass by, and the sound eventually fades away. Okay, a bit annoying. I start hoping to myself this doesn't become a regular occurrence, or that it's a sign my hearing is slowly going away, but I soon forget about it. 3 days later, it was Saturday and I was playing basketball with a couple of friends for fun and to try to get some fresh air and sun. It's noon again and that same stupid tone resumes, but this wasn't like the other times. I feel different. It's sort of weird to explain. I don't know if this is a me thing, but sometimes if I'm doom scrolling through some Instagram reels and my neurons are fried, I start feeling like my eyes want to keep going downwards, and the only way I can relieve this feeling is by laying down and pretending I'm sleeping for a few minutes. That sort of feeling. I tag myself out and sit on the grass for a bit wondering what the hell this feeling is. I lay down and after maybe 5 minutes, the sound finally dissipates. I go back to playing and I feel fine afterwards. I go to my school healthcare clinic and tell them the symptoms, and they tell me it's possibly either food poisoning or I'm dehydrated and send me off. In and out within 5 minutes. They tell me to come back if I get worse and to take it easy when it comes to sports. But little do they care. I go to the gym frequently. I go on morning runs. I wasn't pushing myself at all those times I heard the sound. 2 days later, it's 7 a.m. on Monday and I'm feeling groggy and irritable as hell. I get up and drink a bunch of water, a bottle and a half of Aquafina, and I take my time doing it because I'm only used to drinking about 3/4 of a bottle before my stomach requires time to expand. I start doing my normal routine, brushing my teeth, washing my face with cold water, eating rice with eggs. You get the point. It's now exactly 8 a.m. and while I'm putting on my backpack to head to school, I hear that 529 Hz tone again. My annoyance is starting to turn into fear at this point. I put my hands on my ears and start tilting, swiveling, moving back and forth, cracking my neck, getting myself to yawn. Nothing works. I don't even hear the tone change in pitch or volume when I move my head anymore. The sound gets louder and goes on and on. I head outside for some fresh air. It's extremely chilly and breezy. I sit down on a chair and make myself completely relaxed, hoping that anything at this point can even change the pitch of the sound. My fingers start going numb and my nose starts getting runny. My vision starts going blurry and dark and I start feeling this hot cold sensation inside my skull. My mom comes outside asking what's going on, and just as I'm about to confess my situation to her, I feel a rush or wave of coolness wash over my brain and The sound goes away. My vision goes back to normal almost instantly. At this point, I'm in such bewilderment. I don't know whether to feel relief or utter terror. Something's going on with my head, Mom. Honey, what's going on? Are you okay? What happened? I don't know. But I'm scared. I explained to my mom what I've been going through with the sound I've been hearing, my trip to the clinic, and my new onset of symptoms. My poor innocent mother, the warmest woman who loved me unconditionally, the look on her face, my mom's traumatized, wrinkled, fair-skinned face with a lack of saturation. She looked horrified and scared. Scared there's even a chance she might lose me. She takes me to see a specialist. They get brain imagery and find stuff all over my brain. The doctor wants to run blood and spinal fluid tests, and they open up my skull to see exactly what's inside me because it's unlike anything they've ever seen before. It reminds them of pork tapeworm infestations, but instead of eggs, they look like thick strings. I undergo surgery. The team is beyond horrified when I come to. They say I took 16 hours to wake up after they stopped sedating me. The doctors told me, it literally looks like black tendrils have enveloped your brain. They're like vine stems, but that isn't the worst part. The worst part is when we tried removing some of them. They would move like fucking leeches. If we so much as touched one of those tendrils, they would shrink back into a brain fold and leave behind what looks like black spots on the surrounding tissue. After a minute of not reaching for them, they would slowly come back. They slowly pulse. We're sorry. We don't know what else to say. We don't know what this is. They say that because this is an unknown disease, they would like to notify the CDC and place me under quarantine, but because of the nature of the condition, a non-bacterial, non-viral, non-bloodborne ailment almost certainly means a non-communicable one, they'd let me go under right to refuse. They say they hope to find something from my spinal tap in less than a week. They didn't. I'm lying in bed right now on my phone typing this. Sorry if my grammar has gotten worse. I'm tired as hell. I've been really tired lately. I haven't been able to dream like I usually do. I'm really good at lucid dreaming normally, but lately, it's as if I'm skipping time whenever I sleep. I close my eyes, I lay there for a few seconds, I open them, and even though to me it feels like half a minute has passed, in reality, I've dozed off for over 9 hours. Sometimes I'll feel like I'm back to normal. Sometimes I'll sneak out of the house against my parents' wishes at 3 in the morning and run. I'll be cold as hell, but at least I'm normal. Running and sweating and seeing and hearing and feeling again. I'll run until my lungs are on fire and until my clothes are soaked. I'll run away from my conditions and afflictions. At least until I hear that sound again. Until my vision starts going dark. Until I can't sense. I've never eaten anything raw. I've never broken a bone. Never got a cut on some rusty metal. Never traveled, and never had a reason to think something could destroy me from the inside out. My parents have been all over the internet and contacting health centers outside of my country, and some doctors have scheduled me to visit them like there's hope. But a part of my subconscious knows there's no fixing me. I'm starting to hallucinate. Right now, as I type this, I see a dark figure looking at me from my door. He's tall. He has those black tendrils. He's telling me bad things I should do to myself, but I won't. Don't ever for a second think your life has no value. I value mine, even though I probably have far less of it than any of you do. I'm hearing that noise again. I can't hear or see it right now. Whoever may be reading this, value your existence. It's a freezing winter night on December 21st, 2023. I, 17 male, am walking back home after sitting in a corner at a party all night. It's about a 20-minute leisurely walk to get from the apartment the party is taking place at to my parents' house where I live. I'm all feeling down and being in my negative emotions, feeling like I'm a side character for everyone else's lives, when I start hearing this weird, high-pitched whine. I'm walking on a sidewalk right now, and because it's almost 2 a.m., there's not supposed to be anybody out around this time of night. The neighborhood isn't poor either, so there's not a lot of crime. I start thinking to myself, oh hell yeah, I hope it's some SCP-ass creature to end my misery. And I look ahead and to my left. About 50 feet away, on somebody's Christmas-themed purple-lit lawn, I see a woman sitting with her knees tucked up to her face. She's wearing blue jeans, a white long-sleeved crop top, and black shoes. She's across the street from me and it looks like she's crying. I stop and try to get a good look at her. It's freezing cold out, and even though I'm wearing thick sweatpants and a thicker hoodie, I can still feel the breeze try to turn me into an icicle. Definitely a sharp contrast from the thick, warm air emitted by the barrage of drunk people I was with earlier. I slowly work my way up. I see this girl is tall, solid blonde hair, and as the Christmas lights slowly change to a whitish color, I can tell that her black shoes are weird. They don't have any markings and don't appear to have shoelaces nor straps. In fact, it looks like they're smooth. Too smooth. They look like an AI-generated pair of shoes. Her top is tight-fitting and I can see that this woman is raising her shoulders up and down, really exaggerated while she sobs, like if you were doing shoulder shrugs at the gym. But she doesn't sound like she's sobbing. I just hear this high-pitched whine or whistle. You know that noise you make when you're exhaling through your nose really slowly and you hear the air barely escaping you, sort of like a faint tea kettle sound? That's what I'm hearing, but it's loud since I can hear it from across the street. And it's constant. It's been almost a minute by this point, and this woman keeps sobbing and making this noise without taking any time to breathe. I start to think to myself, yeah, this is some creepy shit. Hell no, I'm out. But just as my right foot is leaving the ground, the woman looks up and faces a little behind me. The lights around her are a solid white, so I know I had the best possible look at her. What I saw made me nearly crap my pants. Her hair went from straight and dry to looking like someone poured a bucket of water on her. Then she turns her head to look directly at me. I shit you not when I say this. This woman had no face. I blink and quickly rub my eyes with my left index finger and thumb to make sure it's not something on my eyes or eyelashes, but I can tell you guys that this woman had no face. It was blurry, like when you take the Gaussian blur effect on Photoshop and scrub it all over someone. Not her hair, not her neck, not any other part of her nor her clothes, just her face. I can tell that she has two dark eyes and a mouth, but nothing beyond that because her face was completely blurred. She wasn't moving her shoulders anymore, and the sound faded away. I absolutely book it and sprint back towards my house, touching my phone through my pocket to make sure it's still there and won't fall out. I ran back at maximum effort for a solid minute straight, never stopping, slowing down or looking back. I make it to my front door. I dig my keys out of my left pocket, unlock the door, get in and relock it all in about 2 seconds. I start catching my breath. After a few seconds, I go to my living room and look out the window to see if she followed me, but I don't see that thing anymore. My parents come downstairs and I explain to them that the party was fine, and that I wanted to run home because I wanted to feel the adrenaline of running in the cold morning air. Like a moron. They both looked at me like I was crazy, but also disappointingly, as if they expected such a response. I take a shower and head to bed. I sleep with a vanilla candle burning on the table beside me and my JBL Bluetooth speaker playing lo-fi music in order to calm myself. That woman, no, that entity was still ingrained in my mind like a 4K video while I slept. I wake up after 6 hours and decide to walk through the same route I took last night. I found the house that the woman was sitting at. I head up to the house and look around the winter decorations, but I don't see anything strange. Just that the empty space she was on last night is now occupied by a blow-up snowman with a black top hat and red scarf. I look around the surrounding part of the neighborhood out of curiosity, but everything seems normal. I don't know if someone stuck a needle in me without me knowing at the party, or if I had a random schizophrenic episode just for that night, but that was freaky as hell. And I swear to anyone hearing this that what I said is exactly what I saw and heard. If anyone thinks they may have an explanation to what I saw or have seen something similar, go ahead and share it with me. I'll take anything at this point. Also, no, I didn't have an ounce to drink. Hey guys, I've been having nightmares recently. I usually don't dream at all when I sleep unless I've gone over a day without sleeping, but now I feel like I'm getting them every time I sleep. It's tiring. I wake up and I feel restless, like I was too busy running from whatever has been haunting me in the dream world, so I didn't get any actual sleep time. I think this all started with an encounter I had after I was out drinking at a bar. I had maybe 12 shots of vodka and was really feeling it mess with my head. I was outside and 2 stores down there's an alleyway I stumbled over in front of. I was drunk, very drunk, but I remember thinking that I wasn't supposed to sleep out here or something bad would happen. I didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but I remember a thought entering my head like, "You need to get out of here. You can't sleep here. Get somewhere safe or you might disappear. Don't go vanishing. Don't go missing. Leave." I was laid up against the garbage bin, and as I was getting up, I feel this huge cold draft go over me. It felt like I was phasing through a wall and was getting slowed by a block of ice. That kind of sobers me up a bit and makes me alert, so I stumble to my knees and feet and start to leave this little alley. However, as I'm taking my first step away, I feel this heavy, dark feeling on my right shoulder, like if a serial killer had just laid their cold black leather glove on me and was warning me not to take another step. I freeze and start to put my left hand up across my chest to feel my shoulder. Shh, I distinctly hear. By now my eyes are so wide I could feel every atom of air hit my cornea. "What do you want?" I said whilst quivering. I normally would be prepared to whoop ass, but I know my spinny-eyed self would probably lose. I was in no condition to defend myself. I bet they knew that too, judging by how my scent was riddled with alcohol. "Come in." I didn't know what they meant by "come in," but before I could say another word, I was yanked from where I was standing about 20 feet down this alley. It was a pressure I felt like no other. I'm over 200 pounds and it felt like some strongman catapulted me into this dark little alley with one extremely dim orange light at the end of it. I landed on my right hand and arm and I could feel my wrist bend too far. I felt a grind and almost a snapping sensation. I almost yelled, but I held my breath in and tensed myself, turning to face up and ready to get hit. I now had a sprain to deal with on top of fighting an enemy I hadn't seen. Fortunately though, I look around and even though it's dark as hell, I can tell nobody is directly around me. There's 2 garbage bins on either side of the alley, and while I'm closer to the back of it, I can still see the sidewalk from here. Right at the sidewalk, I see a person in all black sportswear, and they're fucking huge. Probably 7 feet tall and built like a bodybuilder. I have some karate experience, but even if I were an expert, I don't think a small space like this is gonna let me do much against the goddamn mountain from Game of Thrones. He stays standing there, legs slightly spread, hands clenched into fists, head facing slightly downwards and face concealed in darkness by a hoodie. I think to myself, I'm fucked. But he doesn't move. I stay there about 20 seconds and the guy's just standing there menacingly. I'm not complaining he's not coming after me, but of course, I wondered when he's gonna do something. I start getting these subtle, awful chills running down my back. It feels like someone is running extremely cold steel across the muscles running down my spine, and I turn my head away to look around and make sure I'm alone still. I turned my head for only a split second, and when I turned back to look at the guy, he's gone. Fucking gone. Not even a single footstep was audible. I slowly walked towards the entrance, huddled over and ready to go for his knees, since I figured he was probably just around one of the brick wall corners waiting to put me to sleep. I'm scared out of my mind, but I'm toughing it out. I get to a foot away from the sidewalk. I sneak towards the right wall. I ready myself. 3, 2, 1. I burst out onto the sidewalk with a yell, looking right first and left second, but as I'm looking around, there's nobody. Absolutely nobody, save for my echo going around the block. Everything is closed. The bar I was at is dead, closed. The massive guy that was being an ominous piece of shit, gone. But now I have this cold feeling at the base of my neck, and instead of being on my skin, it feels cold inside. I reach for it with my left hand. It feels normal, but it's still cold. I take my hand off, regain my composure, and leave. I make it back home at around 5 a.m. Although I thought I left the bar at around 1:30 and it's no more than a 20-minute walk to my place, I don't recall blacking out. I have no idea why it feels like time skipped, but I'm too worn out to think about it. I get inside, take a bucket out of my storage closet, head to my room with said bucket in my hands, place it to the side of my bed, and just flop. I pass out in under a minute. This night was the last that I can recall having truly satisfying rest. Since then, I've been having nightmares of everything. Shadow people, falling off a cliff, worldwide apocalypse and getting eaten alive, you name it and I've dreamt it. And in each of these dreams, I feel a chilling sensation. After I die in these dreams, I don't wake up. I see total darkness and an achy, cold, wintry feeling taking all of my senses. It's exactly how I imagine death feels.